Yo everybody, it's me, Fitness 65. Now I just did an Elimination Chamber 2010 thoughts, but I didn't like how that video came out, so I'm redoing this video again. Overall, this was a pretty good show. It did what it needed to do to sort of get some of the matches over and sort of set some of the matches up for WrestleMania and sort of set everything in place and plant the seeds for some of the matches that might end up happening that are gonna happen at WrestleMania 26. I pretty much enjoyed it. Really wasn't sure if I was gonna order this pay-per-view or not because I was pretty skeptical of it, but I ordered it and I was pretty surprised about this show, as this show turned out to be a pretty good show for what it was, and I really enjoyed it. So we'll start off with the first matchup that was on this show, which was the Raw Elimination Chamber matchup. This was a pretty good matchup. Everybody looked pretty good. Everybody looked good in this matchup. Even Kofi Kingston. I mean, I thought Kofi Kingston was pretty much going to get buried in this matchup. As I said in my predictions video, I expect him to do some things in here, but I pretty much expect him to kind of get buried in here because of how he's been getting treated lately. But he looked pretty good in this matchup. He hit a plancha on Triple H and Sheamus. He pretty much shined in this matchup, and he pretty much lasted longer than I expected him to last because I thought he was going to be the first person eliminated. Also with this matchup, you didn't see many guys get eliminated like right away like you see in previous Elimination Chamber matches. Like, everybody was able to last pretty long until the time where they started hitting their moves and everyone was getting eliminated. So this was a pretty good matchup. Like I said, Kofi Kingston shined, even Ted DiBiase Jr. shined in this matchup, Randy Orton shined in this matchup, and everyone who you know who always shined in this matchup. You also had a nice looking spot where I believe Ted DiBiase Jr. had Kofi Kingston in a Boston Crab, and Randy Orton was putting Kofi Kingston's face in that exposed type of cage where the cage was kind of open, and Randy Orton put Kofi Kingston's head through that. That looked pretty nasty, and I was kind of cringing at that because I was like, wow. And overall, this was a pretty good matchup. You had Sheamus, you had Ted DiBiase eliminate Randy Orton first when Cody Rhodes ran to the entranceway with the lead pipe in his hand. He threw it in the ring. After he threw it in the ring to Ted DiBiase Jr., after John Cena, I believe, hit the attitude adjustment on Randy Orton, he hit John Cena with the lead pipe, and I think he hit Randy Orton with the lead pipe. I'm not sure, but Ted DiBiase Jr. ended up pinning Randy Orton, and thus that sort of plants the seeds of the legacy breakup, which everyone pretty much saw coming. But WWE did a pretty good job of sort of planting the seeds for the legacy breakup with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. After Ted DiBiase Jr. eliminated Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston hit Ted DiBiase Jr. with the Trouble in Paradise to eliminate him. Sheamus ended up hitting the bicycle kick to Kofi Kingston, and then he hit the Razor's Edge to eliminate him. Sheamus got eliminated by Triple H after he tried to get John Cena up for the Razor's Edge, and Triple H low-blowed him. Triple H ended up hitting the pedigree on Sheamus to eliminate him. The crowd was pretty happy about that because, like I said, no one liked Sheamus as WWE champion, but Sheamus was my prediction to retain the WWE title, but that wasn't the case as he got eliminated. And then I believe Triple H tried to do something, but John Cena blocked it, and John Cena hit the STFU. Well, he reversed it into the STFU on Triple H. I thought Triple H was going to reverse it or do something, but Triple H ended up tapping out, and thus John Cena ended up becoming the new WWE champion. Overall, this was a pretty good Elimination Chamber matchup. I give it 4 stars, maybe 4.5, as this matchup did what it needed to do. It set up storylines that are going to be further down the road for us and set up matches for WrestleMania 26, and just did what it needed to do, and everyone looked good, even Kofi Kingston, which I was afraid of because I was fearing that he wasn't going to look good in this matchup. But overall, very good matchup, and I enjoyed it, and it did what it needed to do. After John Cena ended up celebrating with his title, Vince McMahon came out and he announced that John Cena would be defending his title right now, and he announced Batista as the man to sort of face him right now. Batista ended up coming to the ring. They did this stare down, and then John Cena hit Batista. Batista had this smirk on his face. Then he had this mean look, speared John Cena, hit the Batista bomb, and that's it. That was it. And Batista's your new WWE champion. Overall, this was pretty good. I'm not gonna give it no rating, but this angle did what it needed to do to sort of further the storyline between Batista and John Cena and set up their matchup at WrestleMania 26. Still don't like the fact that they're going to add the WWE title into this feud or into the matchup between those two at WrestleMania 26, but it did what it needed to do, and I enjoyed it. So overall, like I said, I enjoyed the Raw Elimination Chamber, and I enjoyed this segment. We then move on to the Drew McIntyre versus Kane matchup. Overall, this was a pretty decent matchup. I mean, it wasn't good like I expected it to be, but it was decent. Kane did what he could to sort of make this match good. In the end, though, Drew McIntyre hit the thumb to the eye to Kane, and then he hit the future shot DDT on Kane to sort of beat Kane, and thus Drew McIntyre is still your Intercontinental Champion. Overall, this was a pretty good, decent matchup. I give it 2.5 stars. It was a decent matchup, better than what I kind of expected it to be, but not by much. We then move on to the matchup between Maryse and Gail, which turned into a tag team matchup when Vicky Guerrero announced that the SmackDown Divas will be taking on the Raw Divas after the Raw Divas were bad-mouthing the SmackDown Divas. This was a decent women's matchup for what you got. I mean, it told a good story with Gail fighting off the two divas by herself and Maryse not wanting to get in the ring, sort of setting the angle between those two. My only problem is, like, why did the WWE drag this on only to lead this to a tag team divas matchup? And it looks like it only lead it to a tag team divas matchup. Should have just had this one-on-one matchup between these two and get it over with, but now it looks like the WWE is going to drag this on further. But overall, this was a decent women's matchup for what it was. Gail, like I said, picked up the slack. She pretty much was doing all the work in this matchup to sort of make it a decent women's matchup. Overall, I'm going to give this probably maybe 2 stars, maybe 1.5, as it did tell a good story, and it did what it needed to do. Then we had a promo by the Miz cutting a promo about his next student and stuff like that, and that he was awesome and stuff like that. And then you had MVP come out and say that he beat Miz and that he was gonna have a matchup against him for the U.S. title. Then you had another promo with William Regal cutting a promo, sort of putting over Nex and sort of saying that he was going to make his student better and anyone who gets around him is going to be good. You had Edge come out and Edge saying that he was going to make an impact, and Edge ended up sparing William Regal. Overall, the 2 promos were decent, and they did what they needed to do. And then next thing on here was the Miz versus MVP. This was a very good matchup, better than the Royal Rumble matchup, as that match didn't get enough time, but this matchup here got a lot of time. Very good matchup. I was into this matchup. MVP did his thing and showed why he's a very underrated wrestler. Miz even did his thing in this matchup. The end came in this matchup when Miz distracted the referee and Big Show ended up hitting the super punch. Overall, very good matchup. I enjoyed it. I give it probably 3 stars, as this was a very good matchup. Then finally, the main event, the SmackDown Elimination Chamber matchup for the World Heavyweight title. Very good matchup. Everybody looked good in this matchup, even though they did get rid of R-Truth early in this matchup, which I was pretty pissed off at, but they let him get his thing in before eliminating him. They let CM Punk do his thing. They had Rey Mysterio hit his spots. Even John Morrison looked good, as I guess they were pushing him as he was sort of one of the final 3 in this matchup. He did some pretty crazy spots, and just a very good matchup. The end saw Undertaker looking to eliminate Jericho, but Shawn Michaels came out of nowhere and super kicked the Undertaker, and thus Jericho ended up pinning the Undertaker, and he's your new World Heavyweight Champion, which I predicted. Got that prediction right, and it looks like, I guess, they're going to go with the Shawn Michaels Undertaker matchup. Overall, very good show.